This is the installation video for the Olympus AL-1BL loader and Zeiss Axiotron Microscope. Due to the extreme fragility of these wafers that the customer is using, we had to go to some rather extraordinary lengths to set this system up properly so that there wouldn't be damage to the wafers. And part of this involves exactly how this loader is positioned with respect to the microscope. This video will take you through all the setup, all the connections to be made, checking for clearances and all that before it's actually operated. The first thing you'll want to do is you'll have this base plate. You want to set this on a table. It needs to be a table that's nice and flat and rigid. So we can't have a table that, of course, is flexing at all. So you'll put the plate on the table, and then you will actually place the microscope on this plate. As you see here, there is it's kind of hard to see, but there's a plate that goes from here across under the microscope into here. These two screws are screwed down and locked into position. All you'll want to do is slide the microscope forward till the base of the microscope is up against the back of this tab on each side. It's the same plate exactly as this one. And what you'll do then is you'll move the microscope to the left so that it's firmly up against the two tabs on this plate as well. Now your microscope will be in position. You don't need to mess with the height of the microscope or anything else like that. The feet on this one are not adjustable. Then what you'll do is you'll take the loader, and there's actually an extension plate, which you see right here, with two holes in it. And the two right-hand feet of the loader will fit into these holes to locate the loader with respect to the microscope. And you will then want to push this all the way firmly to the right as far as it'll go, because there's a little bit of play in the two mounting sockets there. You want to have the microscope the loader all the way to the right. Once you've done that, you should be in position. If it's necessary, you can screw the feet down, and there are locking nuts, but that should not be necessary if your table is level. Now what you'll want to do is, once the microscope is here, you'll want to push this load axis all the way to the right. There's also a stage shipping lock, this piece right here, which will be screwed in place with these 4 bolt holes here and here. Those four bolts will have to be removed and the plate taken off, and the stage can then be operated. We'll now go with the plumbing. Because there's several of the axes of motion on this loader, such as this Z-axis here on the F-arm is pneumatically actuated. The air pressure to the loader is critical. Too high a pressure or too low a pressure can cause these air cylinders to move too quickly or too slowly and cause timing errors on the machine, which will cause the loader to stop and display an error. So what we've done is we've supplied a regulator here. It's to be set at 60 psi and only 60 psi. The inlet air in is marked on this side. The Olympus loader is marked on this side. The line from the Olympus loader goes in and connects to the air line right here. These are both 6mm fittings here, and these two here. The vacuum line, your vacuum will need to be then connected to your vacuum pump. There again, a 6mm air fitting, quick connect. You will also need to connect the vacuum from your stage. The line runs out right here, runs around the back of the microscope through this little zip tie connector here and into the upper connection here, which is marked S vacuum. We'll plug into that. Next will be the electrical connections. This is the controller for the wafer loader, the Olympus. There are two cables, as you see here. They'll connect here, here, and you can see the other two, the mating connectors on the other end of the cable there. These are your, this is the controller for the microscope stage. And you'll have, it's very self-explanatory, joystick control, which is here, connects back here. You have the X motor and Y motor connectors and power cord. The other ends of these cables connect over here to the back corner of the stage, and they're marked X and Y as well. And the cables, of course, on this end are marked also. So it's a pretty simple set connection. Your light source right here for the microscope, that connects. Here's your lamp house right here. You can see the light. But anyway, the lamp house connects these two center connectors. The other two are blocked off just to avoid confusion. And the other unit is that you'll need to connect is this is your power in for the motorized turret on the microscope. It's just powered through this. I'll go ahead and show you. This is the motorized turret controls right here. You can check to make sure that they're operational. What you'll need to do at this point is you'll need to install this F-arm, which will be removed for safety reasons because it protrudes beyond the loader. It'll be in a bag with two small O-rings. The two little O-rings go up under here, and you will just install the arm as you see it here. 4 screws hold it down. It can be oriented either way. It doesn't really matter. Next is to you want to move the loader when you go to power up the stage. What you'll want to do is you'll want to move this load axis all the way to the right. And what you'll do is then the first thing before you do that, make sure that this knob on the bottom of the microscope is rotated so the stage is in the upper position, as you see here. Turn it till it hits a hard stop. Now you can turn on the control box for the loader for the stage, and you'll see it power up. It will home to a corner. And you're now in the position where you can move the stage around with a joystick, as you see. And what you'll want to do now is just verify that you don't have any interference issues. Go ahead and bring it all the way over and watch this F-arm. As you can see, the clearance is pretty tight, very close. Not a lot of clearance there, neither between these guide rails here or with the stage itself. So make sure you're clear. Move it all the way to the left, move it all the way forward, move it all the way back to make sure you don't have an interference issue. And we look good. So now what you can do is you can push the load button, and that puts the stage in the proper position for loading and unloading wafers. You'll notice this cutout right here. And what you'll do is you'll slide this over manually, and you have two little docking pieces right here. Tab meets into the dock, and it should center up completely. And what you do is anytime you load a wafer or unload it, you want to make sure that this goes all the way in. Push it firmly all the way to the left. And then what will happen, and I'll kill the air just to demonstrate something. What you can do is with the air off, you can carefully lift this arm and you'll see that it does clear, that you have no interference. Do not try to lift this or move any of the axes on this loader manually with the air pressure on. So now I'll cut my air pressure back on. And then you can power up the loader. And basically what I would do is I would move the load axis back. Now one thing I will point out here is one reason it's very critical to push this load axis all the way to the left is, if you notice, when this comes in, you can see the angular orientation of the chuck. The theta goes to the proper position so that it will remove this. It's critical that this go all the way in because you want to make sure that that wafer is unloaded on exactly the same position on this transfer arm as it was when it was placed here. Because if this is off center, if you were to somehow load it with a little bit off center like that, what that means is the wafer is no longer in the same orientation on this transfer arm as it was. And when it goes to put the wafer back into the cassette, if it's one way or another, just a little bit, if the edge of that wafer touches that slot, it will break the wafer. This is normally not an issue with a typical thickness wafer. If it touches the slots, it's not a problem, but it will be on this one, with these wafers. So there again, always press this all the way in, like here, as you see here. So that's pretty much it as far as the installation video. There's also going to be an operational video giving instructions of what to do and what not to do in operation.